Good evening, everyone. I, Batar Paracha, the Council and Family Engagement Coordinator, welcome you all to the webinar, Aging in Place for People and Ensuring People Stay Out of Institutions. In collaboration with People for People, Community Living Guelph Wellington, and Council of Community Living Ontario. Our presenters are Jacquie McBride, Julianne Ellen, Brian Platt, and Judy Noonan. I thank you all for showing your interest in learning about aging in place. Our self-advocates will share their perspectives today. And I request you all to keep your mic muted and hold on to your questions and comments until we reach the question and answer part of our webinar. Also, the chat is disabled for the presentation part, and later it will be enabled for your participation. Let's begin the webinar. I invite Judy Noonan to present the land acknowledgement. Judy Noonan.
Thank you, Badar, for that warm welcome. My name is Judy Noonan, and I'm going to introduce you to the land acknowledgement. A credo of acknowledgement for the Council of Community Living Ontario. The Council of Community Living Ontario is thankful for being able to meet and work and advocate on the behalf of traditional Indigenous territories on the Council, and the Council recognizes the 46 treaties and other agreements from all across the provinces of Ontario. We recognize that the First Peoples took care of the land, and we will do our best to continue to take care for the earth. We as a culture of human beings have suffered injustices, and we get it. Whether we have invisible or visible disabilities, as one of our intersectionalities, we have suffered and continue to suffer from prejudice, stereotypes, and biases similar to, but not the same as, Indigenous people. We acknowledge the beliefs of First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Our beliefs are, we recognize that there is more to people than the labels that prejudge us. We fight for inclusion, education, and diversity. We fight to keep history alive so it will be remembered and not repeated. Give me a second, sorry. We empathize, we hope, and we work with Indigenous peoples. Council embraces the Community Living Ontario movement, which is to create inclusion for all people by increasing equity in the community, by being actively involved in conversation, by acknowledging self-determination and dignity of risk, by being accepted for who we are and the differences that we have, by being active in the community decision-making, by being included in the paid workforce, and by being treated as true members of the community. Council recognizes the value and the importance of all people. Thank you. And now on to you, Julianne.
Yes, I can. Thank you, Michelle. Hi, I'm Julianne Allen. I have rejoined the council since last year. I live in Belleville and I am married. Previously, I was on the council for Community Living Ontario in 2006 through 2010. I enjoyed it. I have a passion to advocate for the rights of people with disabilities. I am on the board of directors of my association, Community Visions and Networking 20. I thank you for attending our webinar. For over 20 years, Council has shown leadership in advocating on behalf of self-advocates, approximately 100,000. We've helped them find their voice. Today, we have gathered with People for People to share our perspectives on aging in place and ensuring people stay out of institutions. We believe that everyone deserves to be treated with respect and that we need to be supported because we matter. We are not just a number. We don't like to be bunched into a group. We are people, and each of us have unique abilities. And one of the greatest advocates' goals is to stop the way people are moved into large residential settings. Unfortunately, the government continues to approve and fund these large places that are not able to meet the needs of each person individually. There are places that have well over 50 people crammed into one location. This is terrible. Is this the way we should be treating people? Citizens, it is impossible to have a person-centered focus that will support people with respect to their independence and invaluable individual need in the large settings. Another thing the government does is to force people into long-term care settings. You may know these places better as nursing homes. We want to talk about today. We advocate to the government to stop putting people in long-term care nursing homes. We are frightened for people who are not able to use their own voice to stand up for their needs. We all communicate differently. Some people use words or sign language. Some people use computers. Even when someone is nonverbal, you can still communicate with them or understand them by their facial expressions and body language. Okay. Even when yeah, okay. If they can show, they can show you what they want. Okay, by the body language. My experience is that with my disability, cerebral palsy, I have a difficulty with my speech. Sometimes people don't understand me very well. I went to a career employment center looking for a job. I thought they could help me. I went in and listed my skills and interests. So only be told that there wouldn't be a job for me out there for me. My husband also went into this employment center looking for a job. The employment worker stated that he would need to change my voice recording on my voicemail because it would hinder him from getting a job. When you take the time and have patience, it is appreciated by us. Feeling rushed or misunderstood can be frustrating. It takes time getting to know a person and figuring out how the person communicates and how they express themselves. We need to work with the person. We need to help people find their voice, to be able to speak for themselves, to love themselves, and to be there to reassure the person that they are not alone. Okay. We as people who have intellectual disabilities are scared about not having choices in our lives. My foster mom did not let me make my own choices because of my disability. There was a time when I was 18 years old and wanted to take the TTC bus on my own. She said, "No, you are not taking wheelchairs." Okay, I refused and we argued about it. But in the end, I took the TTC bus and I departed. My mother. My foster mother said, "Don't come crying to me if you get hurt." Okay. But I was successful. Choices are important because without choices, there is an inequality of rights. By denying these rights to make our choices, our own choices, we are not choosing life. People are not robots. They are different and like different things. If we couldn't choose our lives or dedicate it, if we couldn't choose how our lives are dictated, everyone would lose their minds. They would get depressed and bored, and that isn't our life. Another experience I had when I was 19 years old, my boyfriend at the time decided he was going to move to Ottawa. I decided to move with him. I asked my foster mom, and she said, "No, you're not moving." I knew she would not allow me to move, but it was my right to decide where I want to live. My only option was to organize the move without telling her. I organized the entire move with movers on a day when she was going to be at her job. And I never looked back. We needed the ministry and agencies to stop suggesting that placements in a long-term care institution is a choice. They are not a choice.
Okay, Jackie.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Jacquie McBride. I have been a member of People for People
Advocacy.
advocacy group close to 20 years. I've lived in I've lived in Guelph since I was 16 years old. I have had the chance to live in many different situations. I've lived with a family, my friends, and finally on my own. This is what I prefer. I live in an apartment. I help advocate in people for people, speak up for themselves. I also help communicate meetings, times, and dates to people who are not able to use email or to ensure they are able to attend meetings. I am a mother and a grandmother. My grandson is in the photo, in the high chair in the photo. On top of this, I also collect reborn therapy and silicone babies. I did a presentation on this at the 2022 Speaking Out Conference. Reborn therapy babies are important to me because they help me get through rough patches when I am dealing with struggles. I'm happy to be here today and look forward to sharing our stories together. We are not being heard. We are not included in decision-making about our housing. I will share the story of my best friend, Lori Stevens, who is in the photo on the slide. Lori lives in a supported housing unit and does not have as much support as she needs. This is where I help her. Living in a supported housing means she has staff 4 times a day, 7 days a week. During these times, staff are required to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack, and also provide personal care and give her her medication. Outside of these support times, Lori is free to come and go as she pleases. Lori also receives a visit from an outside agency once a week for less than an hour. Guelph is set up with an mobility busing service that enables Lori to get from A to B without struggling of having to use a city bus. When it comes to medical appointments, Lori can attend on her own, but if I'm available, I'll go with her to help her understand the appointment and to help guide her with her new wheelchair. When it comes to grocery shopping, I go with her every week to push the cart and shop for her, as she is not able to push a cart or reach the groceries. I do this for her as I like helping her. She is my best friend. I don't want her to be stranded. It can be a challenge to organize her outside support staff to meet Lori's schedule for groceries. Doing this allows my friend to remain in her apartment where she chooses to live. As Lori care increases, the next step for her would be a long-term care in Fergus. Fergus is 25 minutes outside of Guelph, the community she has grown fond of. Lori has lived in Guelph for over 40 years. She moved to Guelph in her 20s and now she is 62. Can you imagine being told there is no support options left for you and you have no other choice but to go to long-term care? Lori wants to be able to have a chance to find support that will enable her to stay where she lives and receive the personal care she needs. Lori also needs someone who understands the system to help her find a way to live her life as she wishes. This system is very confusing and challenging to find resources available. We are frightened by the rules that benefit the institution but hurt us. Imagine my friend Lori, who is able to choose her own meals and groceries, moving into a long-term care setting that does it all for you. It sounds wonderful to begin with, as you have support as you need and never have to make a meal. Now think about it for the perspective of someone who is used to living on their own. She will have times to set to wake up and time to go to bed. She will have no options as to the meal she wants, and most long-term care facilities only allow you to bring certain belongings and possibly minimum privacy. Instead of her money going to support her in long-term care setting, would it not make more sense to use the funds to support her where she would like to age?
Hello, everybody. My name is Platt. I have a member people advocacy group. I like in Center Wellington. I have been advocacy for many years. Further is a small community. Say I can get to will I need to walk. When I need groceries, my sister take me to her car. I look for always to speak when you about now. In part, it is for me to say in my live stay long as I could. We are fighting for lose the community. We have to our community, friends, and families. When I wake up in the morning, I make myself my first coffee. I walk around my neighborhood. I go over to my girlfriend's place to walk her to work. After that, I might meet up with my friend for coffee. I am willing. I coach soccer. In the winter time, I coach swimming. If I was in moved out of further and into long care, if I committed, I have meet with my community would be long. I have committed I time in my community and be a long of my year. We need the manager to stop who's lady to speak you from the community. We are fighting about laws over idea for our free. I have over my over in the apartment in Fergus. I moved out of my family home. After my mom passed away, I made up my to live on my own apartment. I did not want to live in a group home. I have my shirt of course, but I am not a quitter. I speak up myself and other my rights. When COVID say I learn lose to Zoom and walk, other I was speak to the course on speaking out and reach 98% in the course. When the help of my sport staff, I live on my other and meet my other boss. I could come and go as I pray.
Thank you, Brian. Good job. It's a hard, was it act to follow? Is that the word?
Yeah.
Okay, again, I'm Judy, and it's always good to remember where you come from and celebrate it. And to remember where you come from is a part of where you are going. Hello, fellow mates. I'm very glad to be with you here today to celebrate learning, growing, and realizing the potential that we all are so great. My name is Judy Noonan. I am the council secretary. My heart is the core of me. I hope that is what you will see today. I have a lot of opportunities by gathering together with others from different communities. Advocacy is at the center of my being. I feel most alive when injustice dies. My life experience has taught me many things that have opened my eyes and helped me understand and empathize with all humans, fellow animals, and all life on Mother Earth. Life has brought me to a place where I want to educate and become aware of all opportunities. Lucky people look for opportunities. Brave people create opportunities, and winners are those who convert their problems into opportunities. My resume is long and wide, and I have packed a lot in almost 50 years of my life. It includes advocacy, jobs, volunteer positions, and it's also expressed through art. I want to be that person who embraces values such as equal worth of all citizens, the equal right to meet their basic needs, the need to spread opportunities and life chances as widely as possible, the requirement that we reduce and, where possible, eliminate unjust inequities. My tutor once said something to me that has always stuck with me. Things are only different because we have labeled them that way. And now I'm just going to read you my poem that I wrote a few months ago.
Yeah.
And it's called The Place I Call Home. Standing, walking, slowing down. It's so hard now to get around. Pain in my lower back, knees and feet. It hurts to walk even 3 steps from my own seat. Talking to my friend about my struggle, my cat sense I need a snuggle. The good friend expressed, maybe a nursing home would be a good place to invest. I had no reply as my heart began to cry. I think of all the things I lose. All my treasures would be reduced. How do you choose? How do you choose? Don't even mention my cats. I can't even imagine that. Without my cats, my life would be so flat. They are such funny acrobats. They keep me active because they are so interactive. My pets are my family. Without them, it would cause me some insanity. I want to age gracefully in my home, where my cats are free to roam. What system is this? Where there's not enough services? Why can't I stay in my home? Is it because I'm unable to do it on my own? Living in a home with no one I know, I don't want to show you what's down below. Would you pull down your pants for someone you don't know? Here, let me help you. I'll show you. Caregivers will bathe me, clothe me, and dress me and feed me. I'm completely naked. They tell me not to be silly. My body isn't anything new from their view. What do you say to a worker who says things like this in your day? This is my only body. It never was just a copy. What if staff and I disagree? Will they even listen to me? Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I can stand up for those that won't. You can too stand up for you. I believe in you. It's true. Being in assisted living, this is my perfect setting. I've hit the jackpot. I have a secure spot. Thinking of nursing home care, I'm so unprepared. I'm too young. This seems so unfair. Far too much for me to bear. Right now, it's too early, and all I know, we all can advocate for a system that is somewhat inadequate. I want to be able to live in my home where caregivers are available at the other end of the phone. Until then, I know, however, not every nursing home, this is my word, guys, I need help, is a bad endeavor.
Endeavor.
Ooh, I had to practice that hard. It's all on your perspective. So I become reflective. I heard of good nursing homes where folks are better than being totally alone. Having hope and positivity, I have some objectivity. Not everything is all bad or all good. In all likelihood, a nursing home would be my last move until under that roof. Until then, I want to make a change. Together, we can exchange ideas that will rearrange the system that is so strange, where people with developmental disabilities are moving so young into these facilities. We aren't alone, and this is what I've always known. Social justice will be ours to own. And in conclusion, we need the government to create diverse communities and develop a positive attitude where all people are seen, heard, and included in decisions and problem solving. Provide a variety of choices where we can live in the home of our own communities and provide support for us as we age and our needs change. In conclusion, we advocate and hope for a positive, inclusive change to happen. Now we would like to hear from you. We have some questions for you to think about. Please respond by using chat or by unmuting your microphone. And I think it's back to you, Julianne.
Oh, she's on mute.
Actually. There we go.
So sorry. Do any of you have experience with someone who uses a different type of communication method?
Now the chat is enabled. If you want to answer, you can use the chat. And if you want to unmute your mic and give the answer, it's okay too. Thank you. Next question, Judy.
Was there ever a time when you tried to express yourself and people did not understand what you were trying to say?
Someone want to say? Hey, can I say something?
Sure.
Sometimes when I feel anxious or I'm being rushed, I have word finding difficulties and I can't get my words out and I end up being stuck and I can't even talk. So yeah, absolutely. That happens quite often for me. Thanks.
Yes, I have experience with our daughter who is not very verbal. And I can tell it's difficult for her to make herself understood. And it's difficult for me when I don't know what she's trying to say. But it certainly helps that we know her pretty well, but it's hard for staff who don't know her very well.
Hello, hello. It's Marcel Saint Jean. Some people know me. I'm on the board of Community Living Ontario. Hello, Judy. Nice to hear your voice, and Badar. A few months ago, I suffered the symptoms of a stroke, and before that, I had no problem expressing myself. And during particularly the first few months, that was March and April, a little bit of May, I experienced the frustrations of trying to get words out, and it wasn't easy, and it was frustrating for me, and that made it worse. And I could also see the frustration on for the other people trying to understand me, but it's getting better.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Marcel.
sharing.
Yeah, next question, Julianne.
So we actually have in a chat, sorry, I was just helping monitor the chat. Where did it go? Here we are. We have Brianne. Yes, I get that a lot. So she's going to type it in the chat. in a different way so people will understand. Don't give up, she said.
Thank you.
Okay. What would your life be like if you didn't have choices?
Would anyone like to answer? You can use the chat as well.
Pain. I would be pretty boring, dull.
Yes, Brian.
Do you mean me? Okay, my name's Brianne.
Sorry.
That's
Oh,
okay,
Brianne.
that's okay.
Yeah.
If we didn't have choices, our life would be not so happy because choices are important for every day. Like I have a choice to hang out with my friend, or I have a choice to eat healthy. Choices are important to us because if someone made that choice and didn't ask us, that's not so good. We're important. We need our vision to so that we can be heard. Everybody.
Thank you. Next question, Julia.
What if you didn't have the choice of where you would live or how to schedule your day?
No one? Okay, so please continue, Julianne.
That was it for my questions.
Yes, now is Jackie's turn.
I think Brianna had something to say. Is that so, Brianna?
What was the other question? If you can go back to it.
If you don't have choices.
If you didn't have choice of where you would live, sometimes that would not be good because where you live is very important. Sometimes it's hard to make that choice, but where you live should be a safe place. So if you didn't have it, that would not be good because sometimes you get abused, you get taken advantage of, and sometimes it's scary depending on where you live, of the towns and stuff. So if you didn't have a choice, you would never feel safe. And if you didn't have a choice to schedule your day, you would be very frustrated because scheduling your day for things that make you happy is so important. And we have to make sure we do the things that will make yourself happy. And when you're happy, you bring others happiness. And when happiness is shared, it's a better community for everyone.
Thank you. Yes, Hudson.
I would be honestly trapped and bored and frustrated, but like the position that I'm in, sometimes you don't get a choice of where to live. Or
Thank you, Hudson.
sometimes you have to earn it.
Thank you, Hudson. Okay, so from the chat, I can read Rhonda shared life would be frustrating. Farah said boring. Cheryl said dull. Jackie and Judy said anxiety would be there when you don't have choices in your life. And Carol said it would feel lonely and isolated. And Jackie and Judy again say they are saying, I may act out and lose my community by being angrier. Thank you so much. Okay, now we can go to the questions of Jackie. Thank you everyone for your participation. Jackie.
What would you do? Who do you want to make the decision that affects your life as you age?
Me.
It looks like Brianne has her hand up.
I think that would be my choice, but also sometimes you just need advice from your family too, because that's equally as important, because they just want you to be safe. But morally, it's our choice.
Oh, Blue Star.
Yes, so from the chat, Farah wrote, me, myself, or people who knows you well. Okay, so who do you want to make that decision? So Farah is saying, me, myself, or people who knows you well should take the decisions.
Okay, do you want to read the next one?
Read the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. What would it be like if you are alone without support system and you are being forced to move to a long-term care setting?
Bria?
Ooh, that's a hard one, but you would kind of feel isolated because they just forced you to move without your permission, kind of thing. But long-term care, sometimes there's good and sometimes there's bad. This is different than assisted living, so I'm not sure exactly what to say. But if you're forced in a position that you didn't agree to, you would kind of be frustrated and upset because that would not bring you happiness. Whereas if you had a choice, I think you'd be a lot happier.
Yes, Hudson.
For me, I found out that when I was moved to London Avenue, it wasn't the best decision. And I just feel like I should have the right to live on my own.
Thank you. And from the chat, Carol said, and if you had no choice, it would feel as if you are being bullied. And Cheryl said, no more freedom. And there's also in the chat, scared and confused. All right. Thank you. So let's go to Brian then.
What is important to you, community or a place to live?
Anyone want to answer? Yes, Hudson?
I think a place to live because I would much rather live than have the community. Because living somewhere is where you feel safe and included, and you have a nice warm bed to go to, and it's nice.
Thank you, Hudson.
Yeah.
Okay, and from the chat, two people think that both, they need both community and a place to live.
Yeah, I agree with that. You shouldn't have to choose. So
Thank you, Julia. Okay, and Jackie and Judy also feels the same. We need friend, family, and your own home. Great. Okay, so next question, Brian.
I do see live in a place for always from your family because that we're the only chance to have now what you with in the sea.
Anyone like to answer?
Brianna,
Yeah. Sorry. Imagine if you were sent far away, you would feel isolated. And if you only had to choose that, it would be very sad. And I think I would be frustrated and crying, and I don't know how anyone would be able to handle that. That's a lot.
Thank you. Anyone else? So next question, Brian.
Okay. What everyone need to find their don't have clothes over their knees and feel like they are being just on over or there.
Okay, so I think there's no one. Okay, let's go to Judy's question then.
I have 10 questions, so hold on. Oh, I have one. I have one question. How would you feel giving up your possessions if you were to make a permanent move and all of the possessions you leave behind will be discarded? This happened to somebody who is on the Zoom call right now. Yeah.
Brianna,
If you had to give up your possessions, that would be hard. That would be the hardest thing ever. Well, I had to give up some of mine because when you move from something to something smaller, you have to give up a little bit. But if you had to move and give up all your possessions, you would feel heartbroken. And that would not be easy.
I agree. Thank you. Yes, Hudson.
So if I were to give up, say, my Xbox, I would miss it so much because I play Minecraft on it and I love Minecraft.
Thank you, Hudson.
Yeah.
Yes, anyone else would like to answer this question? No one? Okay. Okay, so Hudson, your hands is up. Do you want to say something more? All right. So thank you everyone for participating in our webinar today. This is our contact information. If you want to contact us, you can reach out to us by emailing me or Payal Khazanji. And if there are any comments, any things you would like to share, you are more than welcome.
Can everybody see this?
Yes, Hudson?
I just had a question. So will this happen next year too?
Yes.
Oh, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And I think I'm on council for 2 years.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
Thank you.
Oh, Hudson.
So do anyone like to say something? So from the audience, Lainey is saying that will there be a recording available to share with others? Yes, there will be a recording. And if you want to have a look, if you want to hear the recording, you can go on to the CLO's website. And from there, you can go to the council page. And in the resources section, you will find this recording. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Bedard, do you want us to stay on?